Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us again today for our continued interview series highlighting our business resource providers and our small business owning community here in the Chicagoland area. We're super excited to share with you that ChiBizHub is at 171 business resource providers now. And we're excited to showcase Workbox today, which is a new BRP on the hub. So we have Caitlin McAllister today, who's the Chief Operating Officer for Workbox, who's going to share a little bit more about what is Workbox and why it's so amazing that they're on the hub today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Caitlin, let's get right down to it. Can you please describe the mission and the purpose of Workbox company? Additionally, where are you located and what neighborhoods do you currently serve?
Yeah, our mission is pretty simple. It's member success. We're looking to provide resources and connections to as many small business owners and tech founders as possible to set them on the course of scale and success. And then, sorry, where we're located, we have a location in River North in downtown Chicago, but I think we'll touch on this a little bit later of everything that's happened since COVID. We have recently launched a remote membership, so we're able to access more founders outside of the Chicagoland area now, which is super exciting.
That's really exciting. See, I feel like there's so many different ways that, we've made COVID kind of work, if that makes sense.
There are silver linings, I think, not to take
Exactly.
away from the impact that it's had on so many small businesses, but I think there are opportunities within as well.
Exactly. I love that. So let's, a little bit more. As a new BRP for ChiBizHub, business resource provider, can you briefly describe what are you most excited about since joining the network?
Yeah, I think our missions align. I think what's awesome about the hub is that it provides access to so many resources and real businesses that can help small business owners or again founders. And I think we have so many resources, whether that's our access to capital partners or venture funding, stellar network of mentors that are in a variety of different verticals and they're subject matter experts in a wide variety of things, and strategic service partners that provide help with the simplest of things to the most complex, like legal and navigating contracts or just simply finding a bookkeeper. If you have a great business idea, but you have no idea how to manage Excel, there are people that can do that for you. And I think ChiBizHub offers this amazing platform to easily find who's the right person or service that can really help you navigate the often complicated area of starting a business.
No, that's so true. I mean, I actually, had the fortune to go visit Workbox. Super shocked of just like how clean it is. I love it. So everybody should feel comfortable to just, do a little site visit, check it out, see if it's the spot for you. So I really appreciated that. But I think something that I think we definitely need to highlight is the fact, you mentioned the access to investors and capital and helping out the entrepreneurs and small business owners in that way. But you also, not only do you have that access point, but you also have the connections and the individuals that are prepared to do this to help them get to that level if they're not necessarily at that level yet. So, for our small business community, I mean, this is just yet another opportunity of how you can use Workbox. Could you please elaborate on the different initiatives that Workbox company is currently executing or plans on executing to help underserved communities in Chicago? At ChiBizHub, we're specifically interested in any details you can share about your unique accelerator program.
Yeah, so I think this is a really important topic this year as well. But I think even before George Floyd and kind of the explosion of civil unrest and whatnot, this is something that both my CEO, John Wallace, and I are super passionate about. So we've always had an offering for underrepresented founders. And in our company, we define that kind of to Chicago's underrepresented founders, which is mostly Black, Latinx, and women. So there are a lot of other underrepresented founders out there as well that we are passionate about, but those are the three areas that we really focus on to help our ecosystem as much as possible. We have our accelerator program, where our definition or Workbox is a co-working accelerator. I always explain that we've kind of hacked the best of both of those industries and smushed them together. So we do have purely co-working options, again, for that nonprofit or small business that might not be seeking outside funding or need help with their MVP or whatnot. But then for those that are, we have our specific accelerator program where, again, as I mentioned, offers access to capital. Workbox does not invest or take equity ourselves, but we have 30 capital partners on our platform that we have warm introductions for, our mentor network and those strategic services. And so for our underrepresented founders, for those that actually have a physical space with us, whether that's a dedicated desk or an office, they get that accelerator program completely free for the entire year. For those that are joining in our new remote membership, we offer $1,000 off of that. So pretty good discounts, and I think we're always happy to have conversations of how to navigate if there's additional ways that we can provide support or help someone navigate. We're always open to those conversations.
No, that's phenomenal. I mean, I think our small business community can definitely benefit from all of that. And actually, on that note, I don't know if you can expand a little bit. You mentioned how the organization has pivoted during this time by providing remote services and even discounts that come with that. Can you share a little bit about more of what that looks like, what that entails, what more perks, if there are any, for this remote program?
Yeah. So, being in the physical service industry, like co-working during COVID, is not ideal. We are not exempt from the challenges that a lot of businesses have faced, and Workbox is only just over a year old. So we're a brand new startup ourselves. I joined the company in December and luckily got 90 days under my belt before we shut down, which I'm so grateful for. But, I think there was a lot of angst for our team as we kind of wondered what that meant for us. I mean, obviously, we were physically shut down for a while per the state of Illinois and the stay-at-home orders. But even now that we're back in the office, not a lot of people are looking for shared office space. We're starting to see people kind of come out of that, and I think especially in the real estate industry, there's a lot of opportunity now on the table where those commercial buildings or traditional lease structures are definitely changing, as we see. Like, I think they announced yesterday, right? Like, I think Google and Facebook have extended their work from home until the end of 2021. So there's a lot of change that doesn't, coupled with that, I think the struggles of having to work at home as a small business owner, especially if you have kids in the mix or dogs, it's not always conducive. So we're hoping to have some opportunities for people that just need to get out of their home offices. You can always, again, pop in for a day. But looking at that, we decided to create a remote option, which allows people to get all of the benefits of our accelerator virtually. And we were already kind of doing that in the beginning, where we kind of pivoted to everything over Zoom. We were talking before we got on about Zoom fatigue. That's a real thing. But we were facilitating our programs through Zoom, utilizing Dropbox and Slack and all of these different kind of platforms to get information across. About a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, we launched a new engagement platform, which is called Mighty Networks. That's the platform. And then we've put our Workbox spin on it, which houses everything all in one place. So all of our members, whether they're purely co-working, physical accelerator, or remote accelerator, have access to this virtual platform where all of our programs are facilitated. All of our mentors have their own channel. And so it's kind of like all of those things, Zoom, Slack, Dropbox combined into one place. And so that's really allowed us to facilitate that program, not in a physical location. And it's not something that we would have ever thought about until COVID hit. Because, our full intention was being a Chicago based business. Like we're looking at a second location or expanding physically, and those are still in downtown Chicago. And this has just kind of rapidly allowed us to go bigger and kind of extend our reach. And so that's been the biggest silver lining for us, is that it's helped me as an operator learn so many new ways of connecting and engaging while not needing kind of that physical location. Some things can't be replicated. Face-to-face communication is still super important. But bottom line, our members can still access all of those resources very easily online.
No, that's phenomenal. I mean, I already know the over 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs that are registered to the hub are going to be really excited to know that Workbox is, available on the hub and you can get a quick referral. I mean, that's the other thing. I have to note that most recently, I know I was working with a small business owner, not too long ago, and they found Workbox on ChiBizHub, and I mean, within a matter of hours, one of your operators was already emailing them. So that just shows also how like speedy communication is. Very beneficial, I think, for everyone. When you're trying to look for resources and you're trying not to get overwhelmed, when someone just like reaches out to you immediately, you're like, okay, I even accomplished something today, right? So now that we know exactly what Workbox offers during this time, let's look ahead a little bit more. Can you tell us how you plan to grow the Workbox company brand over the next 6 months within the Chicago business community?
Yeah, I think we do have plans to physically expand. We were working on those pre-COVID, so there's definitely been some delays, like everyone else. And I always say, kind of barring another apocalyptic event in the last quarter of the year, we are anticipating on having a physical expansion. And our dream has always been, or goal has always been, to kind of build that matriculation model where unlike other accelerators, and this is kind of where I say we've hacked acceleration, we don't have a term limit for our program. So traditionally, if you think of like Techstars or I previously worked at Catapult, there's term limits where it's 9 months or 24 months, and then you kind of graduate out of the program. A lot of times those companies then graduate out and end up back in a traditional co-working space, which is fine. But especially for those tech founders that, our goal is to lessen the isolation in the entrepreneurial journey. And when you've just raised capital or hired your 10th team member, and then you're back isolated once again away from other tech founders, it can really be detrimental. And right now, there's not a great solution for that in Chicago. There's a lot of fantastic programs, incubator and accelerator programs in the city, which we're super supportive and friendly with. But this way it keeps everyone together at those different stages of growth, so they can start pre-seed or 1 to 3 people in our first location, and then kind of matriculate into a larger suite style space, still surrounded by founders at the same stage of growth. Obviously still available for purely co-working as well. If you have a larger team and need more space, that those offices are available to them as well. And I think mostly our co-working members are still interested in an entrepreneurial community. You don't necessarily need to be a tech company or whatnot, but you still are, you still enjoy being part of that mindset of innovative creative ideas and discussing kind of how you're building your business with others. So again, our co-working members still have access to our strategic service partners and the community. They just don't necessarily need that capital uh, uh, access.
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that, Caitlin. And thank you so much, for your time today to just share with us a little bit more about Workbox. To close us out, everyone knows the pandemic has truly showcased the resiliency of our small business community here in Chicago. And in closing, what words of wisdom and encouragement can you offer during these times?
Yeah, good question. I'd also kind of, I would also be remiss to not say that, especially with our remote option too, we're expanding nationally as well. So physically, another physical location in Chicago, but expanding our reach on a national level as well in the next coming months. But I think it's it's a hard time, as I said, and I think that's where everybody has experienced that. But I think there are silver linings, and I think kind of the founders or the business owners that I've seen um, to be able to successfully navigate this is you've got to be willing to pivot. We've been talking, a lot of our companies have had to completely shift gears, and even like Workbox, right? We would have never anticipated creating this kind of virtual opportunity. And it took 3 months of scrambling and working to figure out what kind of platform we needed to facilitate that, or like what other resources are we going to need to allocate towards that, while we're losing resources from our physical space. Like, think problems that we would have never had to ruminate on pre-COVID. And I think any small business is having those same kind of challenges where the world looks completely different than it did at the beginning of the year. And so for those small business owners and founders that are able to suppress anxiety for a little bit and think with a clear head of what are the opportunities that are within their businesses. Times of great distress can also be the times of greatest opportunity. And I think it's not an easy solution. I think it's going to take thoughtfulness and a lot of creativity. But again, that's kind of some of the resources that Workbox can help people think through, of what are those kinds of opportunities. And you don't have to do it alone. I think talking about your business with others and figuring out, again, like, what are your customers really needing right now, because their needs have changed too, and is it in your realm of possibility to create a new offering that would match that. For us too, we've had physical office space members transition to remote because they just don't feel comfortable in a physical office, but it allowed us to maintain that tenant, right, or that member, so that they're still in our fold and we're still able to support them and they're still a part of our program. It just looks different than it did in February. So thinking clearly and suppressing some of that negativity is always a good way to approach things.
Awesome. Well, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining us today and sharing all we needed to know about the Workbox, and kind of just your vision and your mission for our small business community to know you are yet another business resource provider that is here to help them, here to still feed into our entrepreneurial spirit that is very much present here in the Chicagoland area. I want to encourage everyone, especially our small business community that has business resource providers. If you haven't signed up for the hub, please do so, because our small business community is just waiting to hear from you, to be helped by you, and anything of that sort. So if you're a chamber of commerce that hasn't registered, an incubator that hasn't registered, or a small a business development center or a nonprofit that helps our entrepreneur community, please sign on. Thanks again for joining us, and follow ChiBizHub across all social media channels.